In the mountainous coastal province of Dingalan, Aurora, the Dumagat people live. Their communities are nestled deep within the Sierra Madre mountain range. These are often far from the paved roads and bustling towns that many of us know. For generations, they have lived in harmony with the land, their culture rich and their traditions strong. They are the guardians of the forests and the rivers. Their lives are tied to the seasons and the natural world. But this very isolation, which preserves their unique way of life, also creates a significant challenge. It separates them from the steady flow of information that connects the rest of the world. This separation is a gap, a divide in access to news. This separation is what we call a news information gap. It is not just about missing the daily headlines or the latest entertainment news, it is a much deeper problem. It means being cut off from vital information that affects health, safety, and rights. Imagine a world where you do not hear about an approaching typhoon until it is almost upon you. Imagine not knowing about government programs that could provide your family with food or healthcare. This is the reality for many in the Dumagat community. The news that helps people make informed decisions every day does not easily reach their remote villages, leaving them vulnerable and disconnected. The physical distance is a major barrier. Many Dumagat communities are only reachable after hours of walking through difficult terrain. There are no regular newspapers delivered here. Internet signals are weak or completely non-existent. Electricity, a basic utility for most, can be unreliable or unavailable in these areas. Without electricity, there are no televisions to watch the evening news. There are no computers to browse websites. This lack of infrastructure creates a wall, isolating the community from the digital age. Information that travels instantly for us takes days or even weeks to reach them, if it reaches them at all. This gap is not just about technology, it is also about language and relevance. Most news is broadcast in Filipino or English. While many Dumagat speak Filipino, their primary language is often their own indigenous dialect. News that is not in their language can be difficult to understand fully. Furthermore, national news often focuses on urban issues. It may not cover the specific concerns of indigenous communities. Topics like ancestral land rights, environmental threats to their territory, or local health advisories are rarely in the spotlight. This makes the available news feel distant and unimportant to their daily lives and struggles. So how does news actually reach the Dumagat people? The primary method is through word of mouth. Information travels like a slow echo through the mountains. When someone from the community travels to the town center or a nearby barangay for supplies, they bring back bits and pieces of news. They might hear about new government rules, a health scare, or local events. They then share this information with their families and neighbors. This process is slow and often unreliable. A story can change as it passes from person to person. Important details can be lost or misunderstood along the way, like a game of telephone played with life-critical information. Another important source of information is the small, battery-powered radio. For many families, the radio is their only window to the outside world. It is a lifeline. They huddle around it to listen to news broadcasts, public service announcements, and weather reports. However, this lifeline is fragile. It depends on a steady supply of batteries, which can be expensive and hard to find. The radio signals can also be weak and inconsistent in the mountainous terrain. Finding a clear station can be a daily struggle. Sometimes the only news they get is whatever the crackling signal allows to pass through the static. Local officials and non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, also play a crucial role. Barangay health workers, teachers, or community leaders who have more contact with the outside world become key information bearers. They might hold community meetings to share important updates about vaccination drives, financial aid, or new laws. NGOs working on indigenous rights or environmental protection also bring targeted information to the communities they serve. These individuals act as human bridges, carrying vital news over the physical and digital divides. Their presence is often the most trusted and effective way for accurate information to be delivered directly to the people. Despite these methods, the information that arrives is often incomplete or late. News about a coming storm might arrive when there is little time left to prepare. Information about a government financial aid program could reach the community after the registration deadline has already passed. This delay turns useful information into a source of frustration. The Dumagat are often reacting to events rather than proactively preparing for them. They are left to piece together a puzzle with missing pieces. making decisions based on fragmented and sometimes inaccurate whispers that echo through their isolated villages. Access to timely and accurate news is not a luxury. It is a fundamental right. For the Dumagat, it is a matter of survival, empowerment, and justice. When information is missing, communities become vulnerable. Without early warnings about typhoons or floods, they cannot evacuate to safer ground, putting lives and property at risk. Without reliable health information, they might miss out on life-saving vaccines or fall prey to dangerous misinformation about diseases. This information gap creates a cycle of disadvantage. It makes it harder for the community to protect itself from natural disasters and public health crises, deepening their marginalization. Furthermore, access to news is essential for civic participation. How can citizens hold their leaders accountable if they do not know what those leaders are doing? How can they claim their rights if they are unaware of the laws that protect them? The Dumagat face ongoing struggles over their ancestral lands and the protection of their environment from illegal logging or mining. Information about their legal rights, government policies, and the activities of corporations in their area is crucial for them to organize and defend their heritage. When this information is blocked, their voices are silenced, and their ability to fight for justice is severely weakened. The gap also impacts economic opportunities. News about agricultural programs, new farming techniques, or market prices for their goods can help improve livelihoods. Information about educational scholarships or job training programs can open doors for the younger generation, offering them a path out of poverty. When communities are uninformed, they are excluded from economic progress. They are unable to take advantage of opportunities that could lift their families and their entire community. The lack of news keeps them locked in a state of economic isolation, unable to participate fully in the nation's growth and development. This is why bridging the news gap is an act of justice. It is about leveling the playing field. It is about ensuring that every citizen, no matter how remote their home, has the tools to build a better, safer, and more prosperous life. For the Dumagat, it means having the power to make informed choices about their health, their environment, their children's future, and their sacred ancestral lands. Accessible news empowers them to move from being passive recipients of fate to active authors of their own destiny. It is the foundation upon which they can build a more resilient and self-sufficient community. Bridging this information divide requires a dedicated and multifaceted approach. One of the most effective solutions is empowering local storytellers. This involves training members of the Dumagat community themselves to become community journalists. They can gather and share news using simple tools like smartphones. The news they produce would be in their own language and would focus on issues that matter most to them. This creates a news ecosystem that is truly by the community, for the community. It ensures that the information is not only accessible and understandable, but also relevant and trusted, strengthening community bonds in the process. Another powerful solution is investing in low-cost, resilient technology. The use of community radio stations is a proven model. These stations can be run by locals and broadcast programs in the Dumagat dialect, covering everything from local news and weather alerts to cultural preservation and health education. Another promising technology is offline information networks. Projects can use devices that store digital content like news articles, educational videos, and government forms. These devices can be physically carried to villages, where residents can access the information on their phones without needing an internet connection, creating a digital library on the go. Collaboration between media organizations, government agencies, and NGOs is also essential. Mainstream news outlets can partner with local groups to ensure their reporting reaches remote areas. Government agencies can make a greater effort to translate important announcements into indigenous languages and use channels like radio to disseminate them. NGOs can continue their vital work of bringing information directly to the ground, holding workshops and community meetings. A coordinated effort ensures that no single entity has to solve this problem alone, combining resources and expertise for a much greater impact. Ultimately, ensuring news accessibility for the Dumagat is a reflection of our commitment to an inclusive society. It is a recognition that a nation is only as strong as its most informed citizens. When we empower communities like the Dumagat with information, we are not just giving them news. We are giving them power, dignity, and a voice. It is a long road, but through community-led journalism, appropriate technology, and strong partnerships, we can light the path forward. we can ensure that even in the most remote hills of Dingalan, the truth can find its way and every voice can be heard.